Hey everybody, welcome to TwitchCon. I know that the event is winding down. We're at the end of day 2 almost, but we still have so much good stuff to pack into our broadcast. And speaking of good stuff to pack into a broadcast, I brought along Anna Prosser to talk to me about Paladins with Mr. Drybear. Is it Drybear?
It could be Drybear.
All right, cool. It's going to be Drybear. And Drybear, why don't you tell us a little bit about the game that you came to show us and how you're involved with it?
Sure. So my name is Rory, or Drybear. I'm the lead designer on the game. This is actually the first time that Paladins has ever been playable in the United States, which is pretty exciting. It's been exciting kind of watching people play the game, give feedback, enjoy the title. You may know us from Smite as one of our other titles as well. But Paladins is our new game. It's a first-person shooter at its core. It has strategic elements that go through collectible cards, so a little bit different there. And there's also mounts in the game, bigger map. So we kind of had our own little spin on things, try to get a little more excitement into the FPS arena shooter model.
All right, you said FPS arena shooter. Break it down for me. What is the genre of this game? Because we're seeing a lot of new stuff coming to FPS this year.
There's a couple inspirations there. You'll see that you'll pick champions in the game. So this is kind of more character-driven. You'll have different ability sets for each champion. You'll have your own unique weapon as well. So no two champions are alike. They have their own set of abilities. They play differently. And so you'll have the opportunity to kind of build and comprise teams from these champions and use their skill sets in different ways. And then obviously with the card system, you're able to modify those further once you get into a match.
Cool. I love collectibles. You say mounts and cards, and I'm like, ooh, where do I find those? How do I get
those? Cosmetic? Or do those affect the game?
Oh.
So tell me about how I can find those in game, how I can collect them, how it interacts with the game. Tell me more about that.
Sure. So you actually, before you hop into a match, you'll build a deck. So there's a deck building process. You know, right now we have over 600 cards in the game.
Cool.
So a lot of interactions you can build. A deck is 15 cards. So before you hop into a match, you'll pick your champion, and you'll start building a deck out of that. So you have 15 cards to select, start throwing them in there, get some synergies between them. There's 3 different types of cards. There's an armor card, which basically defense, utility, healing, that kind of thing. You'll have weapon cards as well. These will give you enhancements to your weapon. Each character has their own first-person, shoot. They have the weapons to fire from. This will give you more attack speed, more damage, modifications that way. And the last type is ability cards. And these, as the name would suggest, they modify your abilities. So change your abilities in pretty drastic ways or sometimes small ways. There's a blast that one of the characters, Cassie, has. It shoots a big blast out that explodes. But with a card, you may change that to 3 smaller blasts that do different things. So you can really modify your character in very drastic ways and kind of tailor your own play style out of it. So once you select your deck, you'll hop into the match. The first thing you'll do is draw 3 cards randomly from that deck, and so you'll be able to pick from those. With 3 cards drawn every level and 9 levels and a 15-card deck, it's very likely you'll get the cards you want. They just won't be in the right order every time, and so what we wanted to do is we wanted to craft an experience where every game feels very different, right? Because a lot of times when you play other traditional games, you may get caught in a rut where once you find something that works, you tend to do it a lot, and so we wanted to kind of break that through the game design as a core so that no matter what, every time you play a game of Paladins, it's completely different than the last one.
Wow, so you guys have, are these cards meant to replace sort of like the talent trees or the rune systems that you find in a lot of other games? Is this going to be the only way that we really build our character as they level up in a match?
That's right. So each champion is kind of built from the core to have the abilities and the weapon, and then during the match, your progression is through the cards. Obviously, it could have been buffs, it could have been equipment, but we love cards, we love collecting things, we love that kind of fantasy element, so we made it cards. And also, you get the deck building experience and the customization through the cards themselves, and so throughout the match, as you level up, you'll start equipping more cards, changing your character, defining your playstyle for that match in particular, and that's exactly where the progression comes from.
Cool. So how much can you customize? You mentioned you can customize a character extensively, but what does the character have already built in? What kind of classes are we dealing with? Which ones would we choose for which reasons?
Sure. Now, most champions actually have a slight inclination towards some playstyles. Fernando is more of our tanky style character. He's got a shield and higher health pool, but any character can be played in any way, and that's what we wanted to do is kind of bring in the spectrum of the champions themselves so they're not as drastic, and so the drastic feel comes from the cards themselves. So you can pick the tanky character and you can play him as a damage dealer. You can pick the small character and play him as a tank. And it really just comes down from the cards you select. Now obviously a lot of people want to pick the tanky character up front and really emphasize that with the cards, amplify it with the defensive cards and make it stronger, and you can do that as well. We wanted to make sure that you weren't really limited by what you play, and the way you comprise teams was more about how you want to play, and we want to limit you in any way.
Wow, what I find really interesting is Hi-Rez relies on your pro players. You have such an amazing pool of talent that comes to your games, and we've seen it over and over again. And have you involved any of your bigger fans and bigger FPS fans in general in this process?
Absolutely. I mean, we're wide open. Like our pre-alpha game we brought to Gamescom a month ago, we brought it here, right? We're not even at a stage where we can put it online, but we want feedback. And obviously, from Smite, we've had some of our professional players stop by and play the game and get feedback. And really, anybody that we can find that plays it, we ask them, okay, what did you think? You know, did you like this? Did you like that? And we take that feedback and we start integrating it in our builds. We make sure that along the way we're building that community and getting the feedback, so we just don't put out a title and we're surprised by things.
You mentioned having the pro players look at it, and of course, coming from an esports background, Rachel and I have to ask about the competitive scene. How much of your development has been thinking about how this could potentially have a competitive scene?
Sure. We build every game the exact same way. What we do is we focus on gameplay first. We want to make sure the game is fun, that it's exciting, that you'd want to play it at home, play it with your friends, play it with your family, and that's the first thing we look at. In fact, most of the time, we have esports in mind, but we don't focus on it, right? We want to make sure that the game is fun. When we put it out there, if the community builds interest and they're passionate about it, hey, I want to play tournaments, I want to compete, we have the tools we need to build that, right? Cool. Obviously, we did the season ticket and several other tools, integrated spectator in Smite, so we have the tools we need. We just are waiting for the community to say, hey, we want to play professionally, we want to compete, and then we say, okay, great, we can support that.
Cool. And the other question I have, I'm going to base it off Smite here. So you guys did a lovely thing, and you brought that wonderful PC game and that wonderful PC community over to the Xbox.
Right.
Is there any chance we're going to see Paladins across the board here on console?
We actually built Paladins with console in mind originally. In fact, if you go to the booth right now and you play with a controller, it actually dynamically switches. So if you have keyboard and mouse input, it'll show Q, E, R, Shift, and all the keyboard inputs on screen. If the computer registers any input from a controller, it'll immediately switch all the UI elements into controller support, say B, Y, X. It'll show you exactly what you need. So we built it from the ground up with console in mind.
And follow-up question. Crossplay potential? Do you think maybe that one day, I would finally get the FPS game to go take my PC skills and visit all those wonderful console friends of mine?
PC Master Race. So we're looking at. I mean, so at this stage, I don't think we're in a spot where we know exactly what we're going to do with it. It's something that we're looking at, but that we don't have any information.
So I'll keep my fingers crossed for that one.
Well, TwitchCon, you've had so many people come by, like you said, and test out the game, and you were at Gamescom as well.
Right.
What has been the reaction from the community, and what has it been kind of finally bringing your precious baby out into the world and letting people experience it?
It's a great feeling, it really is. Obviously, a lot of times, as a developer, you get caught up day to day doing the builds and focusing and make sure everything works. And when you finally bring it to an environment like this and get people playing, and you even get the mom sits down and plays with the kid, and you get the family members. It's a great feeling to see that people are enjoying the game, but also, we have some other fans from some of our other titles that come and play, but we also have new people as well. They're interested in the genre, they didn't know who we were, and they got a chance to play, and they loved it. And it's great because you see people that care so much, they give such detailed feedback, and you really get to talk to them after they play the game and see, what did you like, what did you didn't like, and if people find things that they don't like, we're always open to feedback, and we like to improve upon our game. It's a growing title.
Now, Hi-Rez,
Just it's really cool to get involved in a game that you potentially like that early, so you can feel like you were able to give that feedback, and you can see the game evolve into something that you really wanted to play. So.
Oh yeah, my question was, Hi-Rez is such a cool company and such a unique company, because you see a lot of companies like, ones that we're big fans of, like Blizzard, and they're very serious business, and Hi-Rez just has always had this fun, free-floating attitude, and I think that really carries over to your games. And what do you think you guys have been able to do as Hi-Rez with Paladins that maybe we wouldn't see in any other game?
Sure. I mean, one thing, like you mentioned, we're very free-form, and one thing that's very unique about us is the fact that we don't actually have a playtest team in the studio. In fact, the only playtesters we have are the developers. So, myself, our senior producer, our CEO, our president, we'll sit down and play the game together, right? Because we are the playtesters. We want to make sure the game is for us. We're all driven about games. We all love games, very passionate. And we all make the game that we would want to play, and that's the way we build it out. So, with that kind of thought process going into the game making process, when we bring it out to an event, we can see the light in people's eyes when they play it, and we like to try and make sure that we're including people along the way instead of waiting till the very end when we put it out there and just get an immediate response. We want to make sure that, hey, as early as possible, we're in pre-alpha, everyone here, I'm sure, has had a chance to play it, and that kind of process really helps us develop that community from the very beginning, and that's really one of our strengths.
Okay.
We've talked. Oh, sorry.
We're excited about your game. I'm sorry.
Back off, Rachel. I have questions. So I want to know, this game has elements of so many different games that I like, it sounds like.
Sure.
If you could characterize the player who's really going to love Paladins, what kind of gamer are they?
it's interesting, and I'm actually wondering that myself a little bit. You know, we kind of, over the last year or so of development, we've iterated on many ideas, and we've kind of incorporated them into the development process to make sure that we know the things that we like about each genre and kind of blend those together. Initially, it feels a little bit like, you know, character-driven games, MOBAs, RPGs, that kind of thing. You have a character that you're locked in for the game, and you're progressing that, and you're growing that character over time and growing in strength, and also able to modify that, you know, through equipment kind of feel to it. And so I think a lot of the MOBA-style RPG players will be gravitated towards it, but also there's a lot of shooter elements. In fact, there are times where, you know, the cards are big, right? They modify your character to make you stronger. There have been problems during development process, like during a dev test where my cards broke and I had no cards, and I was still killing everyone because it's a shooter, right? It's still a shooter. And so we're hoping that, you know, we get a little bit of everybody that can come in, enjoy the ambiance, enjoy the environment, the lighthearted feel of the game, and really find something that they like and be able to kind of stick with that niche and enjoy it.
Yeah, I just I didn't want us to get too far, you know, gone in the thing before we talked about. We got really into the fine-tuned elements of the game and the play elements, and we totally forgot to ask about the story, man. Where are all these people fighting? What are paladins? Why?
So Paladins is colloquially referred to as a kind of character, right? It's a person. But we really wanted to kind of encompass the feeling of the fantastical feel of the game and through Paladins. So Paladins, we're trying to hope that it invokes that feeling of, you know, mystical, magical, exciting, you know, light shows and that kind of thing. We want to make sure that's wrapped in. Now, these are all champions. They're champions of the realm. That's kind of the subtitle of the game. So it's Paladins, champions of the realm. And this is basically champions from all around the areas that are coming to look for riches, right? So when you go into the bases, you'll see that there's a vault at the end with gold that comes out of it. So they're really looking for, you know, riches, fame, fortune. You know, Fernando is a womanizer, so he really likes to find all the girls that are around. So every character has their own reason for being there, and so they find their own purpose. But overall, it's really just there's this central area that has a lot of value, and every champion wants to find something.
And every champion can find their value in there.
That's right.
So if I'm a manonizer, I can find all my hot dudes in the center core. Nice. Well, that will incentivize me to fight for sure. And can you give us a little information about when we're going to get our hands on it? I mean, you brought it here. You're so generous, and you're telling us that it's barely even alpha. So what's the timeline for this?
We're hoping very soon, and we're looking at an early access state within the next, you know, month and a half or so, playable online. Anyone here who was at TwitchCon has an early access code they can enter into paladins.com and be able to get a chance at early access. And of course, we'll have opportunities to kind of get into that process through other means. So very, very shortly.
I actually also saw that you had some really cool T-shirts that people were handing out. So it sounds like if you visit your booth, there's some other swag and cool experiences.
We have so much swag, it's almost blinding.
Yeah, I see some really awesome looking Paladin shirts already out there in the audience. Looks like we have some fans.
Yeah, Paladins down in front. What up?
Yeah, what's up? What you doing?
So you have such, like we said before, such a huge community to draw on, and people want to get involved. You're accepting all this feedback. Where can people give you feedback on this game? Where can they interact with you guys and be part of this ongoing discussion?
Sure. So at paladins.com, we'll have links that go to, you know, community forums and other opportunities to kind of discuss. We'll have options as well in-game once you have early access to report bugs or be able to talk with teammates or, you know, generate parties, looking for a group, that kind of thing. So paladins.com is your first entryway. Obviously, any one of us at Hi-Rez are working on the project. You find us on Twitter or anywhere else, we'll be happy to talk to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Did we miss anything? Anything else you want to add?
Play Paladins.
Play Paladins, everybody. A shining example of what an exciting FPS game can do and all the exciting things you can add to it. Can't wait to get my hands on it. I hope you guys are excited. We'll be right back with more from TwitchCon. Don't go anywhere.